Good morning, Service Alliance community.
It's showtime.
It's time.
I like you doing that. Speaking of Beetlejuice, we're headed to go see. We got our tickets for Saturday night, yeah, to go see Beetlejuice, and we watched the older version of Beetlejuice this past weekend. So kind of stoked about that, and kind of a weird one, but
looks like it would pay homage to the original pretty good. So
we'll see how it goes. Yeah. That you guys we got to figure out a way to like record the pre-show stuff, because we have some very interesting conversations in the 5 to 10 minutes before the show actually starts.
So, some of that may not want to be aired.
Let's just say sneezing sucks as you get older.
Yeah, you were having a pretty good sneezing fit.
Oh, well, we got some people jumping on.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Garrison. Good morning, Jason.
Hey, how you doing? We had a great weekend.
Morning, Jerry.
Adam
Schweigel. EJ's chiming in.
EJ and Jenny. Hello, Jenny.
They're getting material for their show.
Yes, right. Because everybody follows us. We're the leaders in this group. That's what I'm going to say. You're the leader. I'm the guest co-leader. We'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Guest co-leader.
The guest co-leader.
Okay.
Yeah, that almost sounds cultish, doesn't it?
It does.
I gotta be careful. Yeah, I don't like that. Did you have a good weekend?
I did. Went
3-day weekend.
Went down to the river camping and had a bunch of family down on Sunday, and
it's hilarious. Every time he says I was camping and down by the river, I always think of the old
down by the river in a van.
This is a Van Gogh down by the river. It's funny that just came across my feed last night, and I saved it because I'm like, man, that'd be an awesome picture to hang in my office.
Nice.
My wife's like, no. Yeah, we had a very busy and good weekend. Saturday we did a little run down to a place called Shotgun Eddie's for breakfast. It's really good. Sunday we had our let's see, what did we do Sunday? What did I tell you we did Sunday? Oh my gosh, it's horrible.
Something about some ducks.
Jeep run. Yes, we had a Jeep run for Special Olympics. They had their first annual Jeep run for the Duck Derby. I know you guys up by Chicago, you get the big Duck Derby in the Chicago River. Well, we have the Southern Duck Race at the DuQuoin State Fairgrounds, and they had roughly 14,000 ducks. They dumped in the pond, and then they race across the pond by water pressure, and then one duck is drawn. And actually, there was like 5 or 7 ducks that were drawn, but the first place winner got some pretty good money. But
you pick them up like at a carnival with a number on the bottom.
Yeah, they do have numbers on the bottom. It's pretty cool. Yeah. But so that was a good time. And then yesterday we had a bunch of family and friends come over, and we just we smoked some chicken wings or chicken legs, and just had a good time sitting outside. The weather was good. Played some music, sang. It was a good day.
That's cool.
Drop in the comments what you did this weekend as we talk. It'd be kind of fun to hear what everybody did.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this weekend because it's the second largest fair in Illinois. And it's the Sandwich Fair coming up.
The Sandwich Fair.
Sandwich, Illinois.
Really?
They've been doing it for like 130 years or something like that.
Where's that at? What town?
Sandwich.
Oh, in Sandwich,
Illinois. It's like 7 miles away from my property and down by the river. So it's pretty cool. I think in all my life I've missed like 2 or 3 years is all I've missed. We always go down there, so we're having a bunch of people down, gonna camp, and then head over there on Saturday. So I'll be picking up some ducks.
Yeah,
they always got them going around in the pool for the kids to pick up. So
there you go. Well, I still have a duck on my. This one lights up. It's kind of cool. Anyway. Yeah, that's.
I don't even want to ask where you put the light at.
Hey, it'll quack you up. if you see a duck just floating by.
Jenny said she visited her family in Delaware and OC, Maryland.
Cool.
Expecting a brand new nephew any minute. Sweet.
Yeah. Well, today we decided we're going to talk and tackle the issue of negative reviews and negative customers. So it's going to be a fun topic.
I don't want to talk about that.
Why don't skeletons leave negative reviews? Because they don't have the guts.
I like that.
Hey, with that, why don't I pray us in?
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Yeah. Oh boy, dear Lord, thank you for the opportunity to serve others through our work here. Help us to respond to criticism with grace, with patience, with wisdom. May our actions reflect your love, turning negativity into understanding and conflict into resolution. And just guide us as we handle each situation with a gentle spirit and a kind heart. And above all, let people see your love through our actions. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, brother. All right, today's scripture. Got a couple here, but
I like both. I think we need to read both.
I know. I was just thinking about doing that. All right, so the first one, let's start with Proverbs. I like Proverbs.
Proverbs. Yeah. It's wise book.
15:1 says, "A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger."
Yep.
I need to live by those words sometimes. Sometimes I forget that a lot.
Dive into this one a little bit more later.
Yeah. Ephesians 4:29. "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen."
Man, talking about preaching the choir, both of these scriptures is just kind of like they hit home. When you're a business owner, these are a couple of good scriptures to try to live by. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think in that second one, the key is it's helpful for building others up according to their needs.
Yeah.
A lot of times we look at ourselves and our own situation, and we can get negative about ourselves, but then we can also be negative about others, and we forget others have needs as well. So
yeah,
we need to build up others and not just say kind words, but kind words according to their needs, and think about the other people. So
yeah, I think I've got one more good dad joke about a bad review, but I'm going to leave it towards the end. So you got to stick around for the end, because I think this one's a good one. So
a good bad dad joke.
A good bad dad joke. Yeah. I like that. I should coin that. So, when handling negative feedback, right? I think it's always great to acknowledge and empathize. Empathy, I feel like, can go a long way, but you also got to be a little careful with it. So I think responding to negative feedback by acknowledging the customer's feelings with empathy, showing empathy is a good thing. Start with a phrase like, "I completely understand why you're upset." I think phrases like that help. Being in the electrical world for 25 years and dealing with customers, we're there, I always say, to deflate the balloon. When we get there, they have this gigantic balloon that's already inflated because they have an issue. My electrical panel is, it's shut down, a breaker's not working, my dryer's not working, my dishwasher left me. So they have this balloon that's already inflated, and our job as service technicians or business owners is to help deflate that balloon. And even CSRs, it's to help deflate that balloon. So what can you say when you're first talking with them? Or maybe they call back and they're not happy with the service you provided. How do you start deflating that balloon right away? Right? Empathy, I think, is a great way to start.
Empathy is huge. Back when I was in the collision industry, this is one of the things that was just pounded into our heads in all the training and sales training and management training that we took. this is the one thing that they pounded into us is empathy. And I was in my early 20s when I started going through all that. And I just thought, why do I need to empathize with other people? Like I had more of a hardcore line, you know, like it's either black or white, you know, there is no gray. There's truth and then there's untruth. And I struggled with empathy a lot until I was quite a bit more mature.
Yeah.
And, you know, finally kind of grew as a person, I guess.
Yeah.
But customers always have preconceived notions, and those preconceived notions are based on past experiences and based on experiences of others around them. And they only know what they know.
Yeah.
And when they're coming into a situation and you're dealing with them and they're upset before you get there, number one, you're a service company.
Yeah.
They don't want to have to spend this money. They don't want to have to deal with taking time off work for you to be there. They don't want to have to deal with the situation at all, or the possibilities of, say, buying a new appliance versus repairing it. So these types of things are all in their mind, and they're worried about it, and they're looking at their budgets, they're looking at their bank account, and they're just worried, and they don't know what it's going to cost to fix an issue.
Yeah.
And so they're making things up in their mind. I mean, think about what's going on in their head.
Yeah.
And now you're walking into that situation and you're like, you're in fix zone. You know, you're in the fixed mindset that you're like, I'm just here to fix the crap, you know, fix the thing. But you have to realize you're not there to fix the thing. You're there to fix the people.
Bingo. I was just going to say that. Man, that's good.
Yeah. I mean, we have to be people fixers first.
Yeah.
And then we're solution providers. And I don't like looking at anybody. I hate when people call themselves service providers, because they shouldn't be service providers. You should be solution providers. And you should offer as many solutions as possible.
Shut the door, please.
Because at least then, you know, you don't want to present a bunch of options to somebody and then put it all on them. You don't want the decision to be all on them. And you need to empathize with their situation, because you're putting more pressure on them by doing that.
Yeah.
So you need to walk in you need to not walk in and say, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. It doesn't matter what the customer says. And I don't, you know, you've got to realize whatever you're there to do, you need to be conscious of how much pressure you're going to put on them for making a decision.
Yeah.
So with empathy in mind, I guess my point is, make sure that you're taking that into account and that you walk with them and help them.
Yeah. I think from our point of view, from the CSR standing, we hear a lot of complaints about a delay in service, especially from appliance guys. Sorry to say it, but that's what probably one of the biggest complaints we get from your clients is, why aren't they here yet? Why haven't they showed up? For me, I only scheduled 2 calls a day as an electrician. That gave me time to go there to do the job. If I had to get something rescheduled, it's because it's a big job and I've got to reschedule it with more time. When we started dealing with more appliance repair companies in business in my office help, you know, they're scheduling 7, 8+ calls a day. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, that just seems way ridiculous, you know? And I still feel, this is my mindset, that you can slow it down, love the one you're with. You know, that's what I always say. And so I think coming up with the maintenance agreements and things, it's a great opportunity to stay there and love the one you're with. That's one thing I was always taught: love the one you're with. So if a customer complains about delay of service, one of the things that we're training is, we understand how frustrating this can be. Let me help make this right. We're getting with the owners of the companies. So that's one thing that you guys need to be mindful as a business owner, is that's probably one of the biggest complaints, would be a delay in service. That's a big one, or following up with, you got to get parts. So I think implementation on this, training your team to use empathy statements in every customer action, be it from the phones or in person. You guys are dealing with a lot of in-person. Role play those common scenarios that might come up. Practice responses on how you're going to deal with that. That's very, very, very important for sure.
It absolutely is. So how do you do that? How do you, I guess, take that away from the customer, outside the customer? How do you take that situation? How do you turn something negative, I guess, into a positive?
Yeah.
So you've screwed up, you've done something wrong, and you've got a negative review, or you've got a negative comment, feedback, call.
Yeah.
You got a pissed off customer. All right.
Yep.
And none of us like pissed off customers,
No.
but from their side, there's got to be some truth, no matter how you see it as a business owner or a technician, whatever, whoever's responsible for that negative review. Obviously, we're going to take it personal, but we need to look at that situation and say, what caused them to be upset with me or our company?
Take your tech hat off and put your homeowner hat on for a second. Look at it from their point of view.
It could be one little tiny thing that triggered them to say, you know what, this kind of irked me. And you may have done everything right, but maybe you said one little thing, or you didn't offer them what they were expecting because you didn't talk to them enough. You didn't take the time to understand what they wanted or what they were expecting or needing. I think a lot of us, we're fixers. We just want to fix the problem, right? And customers need us to just listen.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we all fail the most, is we just don't take the time to listen to the customer. I think
a couple of big mistakes that a lot of people make is when you get a negative review online, you don't respond to it, or if you do respond to it, you respond to it in a defensive manner. I'll tell you this, in all the time that we had reviews online for Service Detectives, I can only think of maybe 2 or 3 that were really bad, just like 1-star reviews. And if you go online and search it, you'll probably still see them, but they're buried because we had so many great reviews. But you'll see that we responded to every single review because it's important. And we had one person, I remember specifically, we had a lady call one time, and we always ask, how did you hear about us? Well, I was actually reading your reviews, and I actually loved how you guys dealt with the negative reviews that was on there. And that's actually why I'm calling. And I'm like, because of the way we dealt with the negative review in such a positive manner, that's why they called. That floored me. Like, that's awesome to actually, know and understand. So you need to set up a protocol that if you're getting negative interactions, you need to flag them immediately, transition to a private conversation if you've got to, direct message, phone call, but don't just leave it. That's probably one of the worst things you could do. You got to respond to it, and you got to respond to it positively. We'd love to discuss this further, find a solution. Could you please DM us your contact, or, if you've got their contact info, or, please call my number at blah, 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 and ask for me directly. Those are the types of things that hundreds of people are going to see because they're going to be looking you up. So,
yeah, sure. I want to take a quick pause and ask all our live listeners, post in the comments right now. I don't care if you're driving, pull over just to post in the comments if you got something good. Tell us about the worst thing that's happened to you, or that you were at fault for, that caused a customer to be really mad. Wow. I'd love to hear some situations, and then let's talk about what you did to fix that.
Yeah,
because I'd really love to hear some real life stories. So,
yeah,
I've had a lot myself, and and sometimes it's like I went, when I left the collision industry, I went to work for Allstate, and during my interview at Allstate Insurance,
were you in good hands?
I was not. But I went to work for Allstate Insurance in what they called their pro department. So I was an adjuster that went around to all the body shops, making sure that they were the ones that were our partners, so they wrote the estimates, they handle everything. I was just quality control, making sure they were taking care of customers and not gouging us. And during my interview there, one of the first things they asked me was, tell me a time when you failed at, a customer service situation.
Yeah.
So I brought up, this situation, and I'm like, oh, I immediately thought of one of the worst ones, and I had a couple in my mind, and I started telling them about this one situation. And the first thing that came out of their mouths was, what was their name? Excuse me. Yeah. What was their name? It wasn't, what did you do? How did you react? What did you do to fix it? What was the outcome? It was, what was their name? And I immediately knew that name, because some people just stick in your head, right?
Yeah.
And then they asked, like, well, what were you able to do to remedy the situation? And I looked at this guy and I said, it didn't matter what I did. I did everything under the sun, but there was nothing I could do to remedy the damage that had already been done. And then he asked me, well, what did you do to go about it? And it was kind of funny, because one of the other adjusters was in that interviewing me, and he was my desk evaluator guy that would come in, and he was involved in this situation, and from the insurance side. So I was like, you were there, Greg, you remember this guy. And then I saw the light bulb go off in his head, and he's like, yeah, I do remember this guy. There was nothing that you could do to fix this situation. He says there was nothing that Allstate could do to help remedy this situation. This guy was just so upset. And he says, you're right. You did everything that you possibly could. And we talked about it. And some things you just can't get right.
Yeah.
And you just have to move on. But it's all in the way that you handle it. However, many years later, that guy came back, and I looked at him. I'm like, I never thought I'd see you again. And he says, well, I gave you a lot of credit for as hard as you tried to remedy the situation.
Yeah.
And I realized not everything might have been under your control, but it was the effort that you went through.
Yep.
And I was like, wow, that actually made me feel better, and he came back.
We typically call them the 3%ers. Like, for most part, we actually found out it was less than 1%, but less than 3% of the people we did work for, they would complain no matter what you did. Like I said, it ended up being less than 1%. So you got to have a good track record. That's for sure. So you offered all kinds of solutions to rectify the problem. Tried refunds, tried replacements, tried additional services. Didn't matter.
Everything. We gave
no matter what you did.
to take his wife out to dinner and, you know, all kinds of things. And it didn't matter.
I think that's a good lesson right there because, excuse me, you got to have things in place ready to go. A set of offers ready for different types of complaints. Empower your team to use those solutions without needing you or upper management approval for those little minor issues, right? But yeah, that's some good points. Good story. Follow-up. So what about the follow-up after resolving an issue? You know, we've got issues resolved. You want to make sure that you're following up with the customer to make sure that they're satisfied, and you got to show that you care about their experience, right? Just, hey, want to check in and make sure everything's been sorted out to your satisfaction. Anything else we can do for you? You know, those little words can go a long way. Anything else I can do for you? I think getting ahead of the situation sometimes can be good. I know sometimes technicians don't like to ask for reviews, but one of the things that I always found very helpful is before I left, hey, you know, before I leave here, Mrs. Jones, you're going to get a text message or an email asking you to give me a review today. Is there any reason that I haven't earned a 5-star review today? And if so, I'd like to address that before I leave because I want to make sure I give you 5-star service. Or you could even utilize that before you get started with the work. You know, before I get started with the work here today, at the end of the call, I will be giving you a chance to give me a review. Now, if there's any reason while I'm doing my work today that you're seeing I'm not giving you 5-star service, I want to let me know, please, because I want to make sure I give you 5-star service. So get ahead of the situation and let them know I'm here to serve you. I want to give you the best possible work that I can. And if there's any reason you feel I'm not giving you 5-star service, please let me know. Get ahead of it. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I actually got I just remembered this. I got I think it was you know, like a driveway ceiling company. You know, they left a door hanger, and I'm looking at this door hanger, and they had like 2 or 3 reviews on it. And obviously they're going to put the best reviews on. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, I don't care. Anybody can put good reviews on something, you know, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I looked them up and I specifically looked for their bad reviews. I filtered, you know, the Google reviews to look for bad reviews. And I searched everywhere for Yelp reviews and so forth. And I wanted to know how does this company actually handle bad reviews?
Mm-hmm.
And number one, I wanted to see, are they minimal or are they overwhelmingly getting bad reviews? And, you know, I started looking and I found they never, ever responded to any negative reviews. And they had plenty to, you know, they had been in business for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, every company gets bad reviews. They can't make every single person happy. You know, there's always something that could go wrong. And let's face it, just people are people. You know, some people, no matter what you do, you can't please them. And I did not do business with them simply because they refused to address those bad reviews.
Yeah. Wow.
And I'm like, that told me a lot. That told me a huge story about that company, that they didn't care about the customer enough to even respond, you know, publicly, or, you know, maybe they were handling it privately, but I don't know that, you know. So that's definitely something that a lot of people are doing more of these days.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind.
Turning the negatives into positives. 100%.
Or at least trying. Show some effort. You know, show some effort that you care about your customers.
Yeah. I think there's a great lesson right there, because you can use negative feedback as an opportunity to showcase how you handle problems, right? As we mentioned, dealing with the negative reviews online, talking about those, or even taking them offline, to make sure you're following up with that. So after resolving an issue, post a response highlighting how the situation was turned around. You know, we had a hiccup, but we're grateful for the chance to make it right, you know. Or I tell you, one of the most powerful things you can get is get a video testimonial. One thing, if you go back through Service Detectives YouTube's channel, we've got all kinds of video testimonials from customers. I mean, going back probably 20 years, 15 years at least. That's money. That's powerful, right? Reviews are like the new currency. I've been saying that for years, but using a negative and turning it into a positive, especially on a video testimonial, you have a phone, right? These phones today have incredible video opportunities that it's just right in your pocket. You know, at the end of the call, hey, Mike, you know, you seem to be really happy with the service today. Is there any way I can just do a quick video testimonial? I'm just going to open my phone, video, you say whatever you want to say, and I'll use it. Is that okay? You'll be surprised when you ask how many people will say, oh, yeah, not a problem. You'll hardly ever get a no. Or if you get a no, they'll be like, I don't know, I've never done that kind of stuff before. And then they'll be like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome, you know, and it's all
if you don't ask, you don't get.
You don't ask, you don't get. You know, share those success stories, how complaints were handled positively in your team meetings, you know, quarterly meetings, those weekly meetings that you have, any kind of team meeting that you have. Talk about the goods, the bads, how you can encourage your staff to see each complaint as a learning and improvement opportunity. 100%. So, you know
what? That brings up one last real good point that I want to make. Are you asking your employees for reviews or testimonials? Because you should constantly be trying to sell your company for employment. You know, that's you want.
If you need examples,
the best of the best to be able to come to work for you. Yeah. So how do you attract them?
Yeah.
And if you don't have any other employees vouching for you, then why does somebody want to work for you?
100%.
You know, whether they're current or past employees.
Yeah. If you go to my office YouTube channel, I even have video testimonials from our team members. And I've got a few more that I'm working on. Great point. I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all about video stuff. If you can't tell, I love the video. So yeah.
Everybody advertises for more work, but they don't advertise for more
team members,
employment opportunities, you know, and trying to build up their pipeline of potential employees, you know. So I think this is another thing that you could do with reviews to help that side of things.
Yeah, 100%. I think this has been a pretty good topic. I love stuff like this. Yeah. So I said I got another good dad joke, and I said I'd share it towards the end. So I think this is a good time to put it in there. So why did the customer give the service a bad review? Why did the customer give the service a bad review? Because they couldn't find any good jokes in the complaint department. No? Okay. No. All right.
I'm not so sure about that one.
We should have stuck with the skeleton one, just left it at that. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Some skeletons need to be left in the closet.
Oh, hey, that's good. I like that.
All right, everybody.
Hey, I got to say before we go, hi to my Uncle Eddie. It's like he's been watching. Billy Woolsey, BW Electric. He's here locally. He's one of the guys that after we closed our shop, I started referring a bunch of work to him. Great guy. Tom. Hey, Tom. I saw somebody else watching earlier. Andy Murrow. Hey, Andy Murrow, another local guy, Egyptian Exterminating. So I'm gonna give some shout outs to some of these guys on here. So thanks for my local guys watching. It's awesome. So
that's great.
And all those around the country and Canada and around the world. Thank you for watching the Service Alliance Group podcast with your host, Mike and Jason. Hey, when's the next mastermind?
Next mastermind is September 21st.
Really? Right. What are you talking about?
Down below, Marketing 101. Yours truly. And we just got a comment. I got to pop up. I even have some from MOH team for EJ's coming sometime.
Yeah. Thanks for that reminder. I got to get those coming to you. Yeah. All right.
All right.
It's something he's not paying me for, by the way. I'm just doing it as a favor. So,
yeah. Favor.
A good steak dinner, EJ. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Return the favor, EJ.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Later.